What's happening, everybody? So for this installment of What's He Up To in the Shop, I'm gonna need you to give me a little bit of room because this one's a little bit funny. Anyway, working on Foxy, and Foxy has got 94, 95 Cobra front and rear disc brakes. You can see that big old disc right up front, and then the regular sized Cobra disc in the rear. Well, all of that necessitates the use of one of those. And that's an adjustable brake proportioning valve. It limits or sends as much pressure as is needed to balance the braking system out when you put bigger brakes or a disc brake kit on a Fox car, or really any car with rear drum brakes and front disc brakes. Along with that, the car also has adjustable front struts. Now that's great for adjusting ride compliance and how well the car sticks. If those struts are set too stiff, the car does get a little bit twitchy. And so about a medium setting should be about where the car wants to be. But since the car was set up and the brake bias was set up with the car in rather stiff suspension settings, you've got to kind of take another look at those brake settings when you're adjusting the suspension, just so that everything remains in balance. Kind of a nitpick thing for me, but that's what makes all these adjustments worth having. Well, before I had a chance to pull the car completely out, I had taken Revlon back there, put her outside, had the car fired up and running, only to find another coolant leak down there. Now, this time it's kind of my fault. I really am not one to go crazy with those worm gear clamps. I didn't have any of the constant pressure clamps, and so, well, these things have been serving everybody just fine for the last, I don't know, 100 years or so. So went ahead and stuck with what we had. I just hadn't tightened it down all the way, but I went ahead and gave it a check anyway. All of that keeping me from actually taking the car out and checking the rear brake balance or the suspension adjustments, or both of them combined, which was great. Because this is the post cleanup of what could only be described as a pterodactyl with irritable bowel syndrome relieving itself all over the back of Revlon. And I am still finding spots that there is various dinosaur remnants on this thing. It was all over the trunk, all over the quarter panel, and all along the side, as though it had made about a 45-degree strafing run with its ass completely blasting all over the back of this car, including on the glass and into some of this weather stripping in here. Yeah, so I ended up spending quite a bit of time cleaning all of that up. But before that happened, I had to make sure that I could have some more of these things on hand. That's right, spray bottles. Well, why would you be even talking about spray bottles? Funny thing you should ask. Because my old spray bottle decided that its squirter didn't want to squirt anymore, and at the time was really doing nothing more than blasting some pretty decent quick detailer spray all over my hand and the side of me and squirting out that way, basically just making a complete mess of things, all while I'm trying to get what can only be described as some of the most caustic looking bird shit off of my car. I really don't know what kind of bird it was. I can only assume that it was of the largest possible variety that ate a lot of, like, I don't know, squirrels or something else that's gross. Maybe it was a buzzard. Oh yeah, and one last thing before I let y'all go. So I had kind of forgotten, as most of us do, I had absentmindedly left my keys in my pocket. And well, I'll just put it to you this way. I had somehow or another wrecked in my other key fob for Buffy this lock mechanism right here. And somehow or another, it then was just randomly locking my truck, and then locking my truck again, and then rapid fire in sequence locking my truck. So apparently somehow or another, while I was laying on this key fob, I wrecked the inside of this thing, basically turning my key fob into a practical joke device. And that's it. That's how the day wrapped up. Oh wait, I didn't get to the lawnmower stuff. If you saw the video about me repairing or cleaning out that carburetor, well, that was actually also kind of part of the day, but that bled into the next day a little bit because of well, it's like a fuel filter thing. I'm going to have to hack some stuff together. But anyway, yeah, that's what I'm up to. Hope y'all are having a great one. Adios.